Hello everyone, I'm back with another video. Just yesterday, Saturday, I actually did a two-part video where I showed off the books that I got, the new books from this past week and the books from the week before. And in looking at that video, I got to thinking, those videos, I got to thinking that, yeah, I think I did really short videos, but somehow I just went over the books really fast and I didn't get a chance to talk about some of the highlights for me. Um, just trying to make a short video and get them and get all the books out of the way as fast as I could, so I wouldn't really extend myself on those videos because to have I'm trying to make them shorter, um, and not go on talking for 30 minutes or whatever. Uh, so so I decided to maybe do videos talking about certain books, giving them the full review treatment. Uh, so this might be rare videos. I might not review do individual reviews of all the books. Just a few books that I think are worth talking. So, really just the highlights. So for this first video, I will be reviewing Prez #1. This book is, mainly political satire. Um, and it's no coincidence that it's coming out, just as the US is entering another electoral cycle. Uh, I'm very aware of what's going on in the States. I enjoy, just watching, the electoral cycle in the States a lot more than watching or being informed about what's going on here in Mexico because, they're totally different systems in a sense. Here it's just about voting for parties. You know who the candidates are. You just vote for the party you like the most, or to punish the party that was in power before and didn't like the results, so you don't know what kind of people are entering into a public office. While in the stage, uh, you get to know who's running for office, and you get all those political ads with candidates. Here we just get political ads about the party. So I mean, just a few weeks ago we had our midterm election. I didn't vote for anyone. I didn't go voting because I didn't know who I was voting for, and I mean literally not knowing who I'm voting for because I didn't know who the candidates were. So everything that referenced in this book, got, I actually, perfectly understood it. I got what they were going for. So basically, Prez is a really old concept from the 70s that was, as an idea, has somehow been revisited by DC in the past, but the actual comic, the original Prez, didn't really last that long. Uh, because it, as great as a concept, the execution really is the key to any idea. So the concept is good. The execution was terrible. The book never really found its audience. I think that's like 4 issues. and it was written by by Joe Simon, co-creator of Captain America for DC, and really we're talking about a middle-aged man who was trying to get in touch with the youth culture coming out of the 60s and into the 70s. So as much as the comic, the original comic, has been left into oblivion, the concept itself hasn't. So again, this focuses on the idea of the first female president. Uh, so this issue, so this is a 12 issue maxi series, if you will. I think I read somewhere that it might go to 16 if it actually sells well. Um, so the story focuses on Beth Ross. So this is our main character. So Beth is what appears to be a typical 19-year-old girl. She works at this corn dog place in Eugene, Oregon. It's a little bit silly, as we see in the first few when we were introduced to her. But her dad's actually in the hospital because he's got a rare case of influenza, so he's practically dying. Beth is trying to find a way to pay for all his medical expenses. It's not easy for her. She even goes to to some to a show where a contest show where basically if you win you're a billionaire, but you have to show how much you want to be a billionaire. So they put like these challenges which are very demeaning to people. Uh, but hardly anyone ever wins, except that in the moment that Beth goes, the date that Beth goes, one of the contestants is like a little immigrant kid. He wants to bring his family over. There's the huge wall. He wants to bring his family in, so he actually does win by after going through a series of really demeaning tests. The final one is he has to shoot himself. He actually has to shoot himself in in any part of his body except his feet uh, or his hand. So he actually shoots himself in the leg, and he actually wins. Uh, so Beth is still struggling to actually get that money. She's disappointed that she couldn't enter, but her dad says if it's that bad, then maybe you shouldn't have done it. And we get stuff like now we have like even she's even trying to crowdfund, be able to pay for her dad's medical, and they have this thing called Kickstarter now to crowdfund, you know, the insurance, the money for the to pay the medical treatments. Um, so um, of course, we the whole concept that we were told about this book was that Beth actually gets selected via Twitter. She actually um, gets somewhat unexpectedly into the race after uh, this video. So she's actually cleaning the grill from the place where she works, So one of her co-workers actually tells her, you have to clean the grill, and she says, "Well, it's in your turn." And her co-worker says, "No, I'm gonna be shooting the training video, so I'm gonna film you, uh, tape you, or record you while you clean the grill." So you know she does it and accidentally gets her hair caught in the in one of the other grills, and it burns. So this actually goes up online, and she begins to trend. So she doesn't really know she's in the race until like much later when she actually wins. Um, Let me see. She wins Ohio. So she actually goes into like this place here. And after she visits her dad, she goes into like walking, goes into this place, and actually finds out she's actually in the actual race. Uh, Unfortunately, nobody wins, neither the official candidates or her. So at the very end, we're introduced to Buzz Smiley, a reinvention of a character from the original series, who heads a bunch of a group of CEOs, and the whole corporation are people too actually becomes literal when every CEO wears these sort of digital masks that represent their corporate logos, and they're referred to not by their first Christian names, for their first names, but by their corporate names, their corporations. So Boss Smiley tells them, they're pretty pissed off that none of their candidates won, because they expected, they, whatever, they finance one or the other, of course they expect to get something out of it. But Boss Smiley here tells them, you know what, guys, uh, we aren't players in the game, we actually are the game. So it doesn't matter who wins or loses the election, corporations always win. And so we end the book with Smiley, um, you know, here with Smiley, sort of holding the image of Beth. So we know that Smiley will manipulate things to actually get Beth elected, and obviously have her be the corporation's puppet, or else that's his intention. So the whole Beth story actually is interspaced, while most of the issue really focuses on the world building. So we are introduced in the very first page with a little secret, you know, to Senator Thorne, this fellow here, who actually runs a little sort of Illuminati, sort of like a group, the head of a small group of very powerful senators who are choosing their candidate for this new electoral cycle. Later on, we see Thorne in a news show right here, where the opposition candidate is talking, and we get like really silly areas like now they will be using drones to deliver tacos because this is a way to get rid of food stamps, because Senator Thorne says, you know what, poor people are cheating the system. They you know, they cheating the system. They're well, they're maybe they're lazy or have drug habits and with the drones, we give them tacos, but we'll be watching over them as well. So we can like you know like all these products. The composition kind of is like what they'll be getting. They'll be like they would be even getting like clothes. And the Washington candidate is like, oh my God, are you nuts? This is so wrong. And you can I don't know if you can see it, but there we go. You can see how the approval ratings are on the people. So people seems that they are just happy to hear whatever they want to hear and don't really care about the important issues. So, for example, Senator Thorne says that with the taco drones, people will, they'll be feeding people and they'll be like, watching out for people who cheat or abuse the system or abuse drugs. So they'll be like, so he says, there'll be like a restaurant, a social worker, and a responsible parent. I'm like, oh my God, and, he opposes the whole darn thing. And saying we were saying the opposition candidate. As for the candidate that is supported by Thorne was actually in that reality show where Beth went to see if she could win money to help her dad. And she's just making fun of the contestants. I mean, I think at times, this guy actually reminds me of Reagan. He looks a little bit like Ronald Reagan. Uh, and it's just very, you know, demeaning, just making fun of the contestants. While the other, the guy, the opposition candidate, goes to this like web show, very trendy web show, and just gets humiliated. Nobody really wants to hear about the important issues. It's just sort of like very superficial uh, uh, thing. So it's like people are stupid now. They just they're happy to hear what they want to hear and not really care about important stuff. Like a fun. I mean, she just gets humiliated throughout uh, throughout, and he even asks his assistant, you know, just gets completely humiliated, and he actually asks his campaign manager if they could like go on just get a better TV ads or something, and she says like what do you want, the senators Mark and Mindy or the Dick Van Dyke Show? Nobody really watches television anymore, so he's actually doing this whole humiliating thing um, uh, 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 to see if he could get voters. We also learn throughout the issue, especially in the throughout basically uh, at the very end when the elections are actually happening, and we actually begin to learn, for example, actually before that, throughout the issue, we actually get some information on why Beth gets elected via Twitter, which is big, which which is why she can get elected via Twitter. We learned the reason was that because in the past there was a lower number of voter turnout, it was decided to actually have people vote via Twitter, uh, to drum up, more, bringing more people to vote on these elections because, you know, it was just, going down and not many people were showing up to vote anymore. We also learned why it's possible for a 19-year-old girl to get elected to the highest office, and that's because now corporations are people too. So there's this act that was passed by Congress. The let's see here. Um, the the corporate personhood amendment. So now corporations are people too, but at the same time, they took any restrictions on the age. So there's like no restrictions on how old a candidate could be. So technically, if you're trending on Twitter, uh, a cat could get elected for president. Well, not cat, but anyone could be, elected for office. So if you're trending on Twitter, a 5-year-old could win the elections. There's no restrictions for that. Uh, so the story was written by Mark Russell. He was actually asked by DC to write this book based on a previous work he did, which was a graphic novel, I believe, called titled God is Disappointed in You, which is supposed to be a satire on the Bible. Uh, so he was actually asked to do it, and the art is by Ben Cadwell. I really like the cover, which is an homage, a parody of George Washington crossing the Delaware. Uh, Very famous painting. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I love the art, the coloring as well. Again, this is a book that has. I can't really imagine anybody else really drawing this book. It's got its own look now, its own signature. The coloring is. I mean, I really like the coloring. Uh, you know, the coloring is phenomenal. Uh, and yeah, it's pretty crazy uh, concept in the artist. It's great. So it's a pretty fun book. I wouldn't. I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny, haha, like this is a gag sort of thing. Uh, but it's a funny, fun book. If you're really, it's a smart book. And it's its own thing, really. It has no actual ties to the superhero DC universe, so this could be anywhere. I mean, this story takes place in the year 2036, I believe. Yeah, uh, yeah, it's the year 2036. Um, it's its own thing. It's its own little world, really. And has no ties to to the main DCU. The only thing that might be a bit of a tease is, you know, if you can see back here, um, back here. Here it says it's sponsored by the Wayne Foundation, uh, but it might not be the Wayne you think it might be. Been revealed that it's some other Wayne. So yeah, uh, fun book. Really liked it quite a bit, and I was actually a bit on the fence on this one. I wasn't really sure. I was going to pick it up. I really wanted to sort of test the water, so I actually read the sneak peek, which takes place once Beth is elected. This is before that. Uh, so I was a little bit on the fence. So the sneak peek sort of was a good way to sort of test it. Then I read a couple of interviews with the writer, and finally decided to pick it up, and yeah, really enjoyed it, and I hope that you know uh, that it actually we get after these initial 12 to 16 issues. If I heard, like I said, I read somewhere might go to 16 if it sounds well, comes back for another season. Basically, what I read most recently is that this initial round will focus on her first year as president. So I would definitely love to see more once it's done. It doesn't just become a, a book that uh, just a book that is exploiting a bit of the whole election thing. I think it's an interesting concept, and there's always, when it comes to satire, political satire, yeah, there's always uh you know thing, not just political satire, but social satire, satire in general. There's always more material to pick from. If not ask the people that created The Simpsons. I mean, that's just been running for 26 years, so, and they still have a lot of material to look for. So I'm rambling on now. So I hope you enjoyed this review, and until next time, keep smiling.